Hi, this is Randy Kirk, and we're going to take a kind of a different path today. I want to talk to you about a major project that I'm working on over the next several months. It's something that I've been putting off. I've been doing a little research here and there, but now it's time to really dig in. I set up my Patreon deal primarily to invite some people in that could help with brainstorming and spitballing about issues like the issues I'm going to address today. And then eventually this entire thing will take shape in a book called the Elon Musk Magic, The Coming Age of Abundance, that will have as primary authors Brian Wong and myself. And we want to talk about what Elon Musk is doing, primarily Elon Musk, although there's plenty of other people that are contributing, but he's driving this transition. We are in this transition place. You are part of it. You are in it. You're in the middle of it. And those of you who are watching this particular video probably are actively interested in the transition, are promoting it, are telling your friends it's going to happen, and they're all laughing at you. But we're on the brink of a revolution in power, the way that the world is going to be powered. And this revolution is going to bring on prosperity like the world has never, ever seen. We are already in such prosperity that it's hard to even think about it clearly. We are feeding the world. There are very few people that are going hungry anymore. Most people are not even going to bed hungry at night. There's a very few percentage of the population that are still in any way food deprived. There's some that are nutrition, they're not getting as much nutrition as they need, even in America, but that's because of the way we eat. But the truth is, the vast majority of the world's population is going to bed with enough food in their tummy. And that just wasn't true ever before in history. We have made these massive transformations in terms of education, where it was true that only 5% of the population of the world was educated or could read and write, even 150 years ago. And now only 5% of the world's population is illiterate. And this includes both men and women. So we've made incredible strides. But now let's come closer to the future. 50 years ago, most of the world's population did not have access to a massive major local library. They didn't have access to worldwide news. They didn't have access to being able to talk to people in their field from around the world. The cost of, to the extent that they had a telephone at all or had some way of communicating at all, it was very expensive to talk to people even in the next state or the next country, much less around the world. And so I'm sure I don't have to tell you what has happened with communication, to where most people in the world today have a smartphone, have a computer, or have access to a smartphone or a computer fairly easily, therefore giving them access to all of the information that's ever been compiled by man, pretty much, giving them access to free phone calls or free face-to-face conversations with people in their field, or with individuals that they need to talk to sell, to buy, or to trade information, or to just like we're doing right now, to build resource groups that can attack problems in various fields. So that's happened in a really, really short amount of time. Let's say 15 years. We've gone from no smartphones at all to vast majority of people being able to have access to this kind of information, education, and contact with others. Well, Tony Seba, among others, believe that we're about to do the same thing when it comes to how we power things. We're going to transform the way we're going to go worldwide today. Believe it or not, there are still a lot of folks that are heating their homes using dung or wood derivatives like charcoal. This is not unusual at all around the world. Of course, coal becomes the next still dirty method, but better than any of those. This is a huge percentage of the world population that are still using those three methods for heating, for powering, etc. Tony Seba believes that this will be virtually eliminated almost the same way that we've eliminated those other things, and in a very short period of time. He speculates that it would only cost I think I have this number right, it would only cost India $1 trillion. They have 1 billion people, so $1,000 a person, only $1 trillion to completely convert all of India to solar/battery power. That's pretty incredible to think about. $1,000 per person, and India could completely convert. So what's holding us up? What's keeping this from happening? We know that China, many Northern European and some other European countries, Australia, Hawaii, California, Texas, are all at the forefront of switching these countries and states over to 100% wind, solar, and battery. Of course, still having some of the other clean methods, like dams and whatnot as well. But what is keeping the world from making this transition? That is what I want to attack. I'm looking for people to join the Patreon group who want to attack it. But if you don't join the Patreon group, we can attack it through YouTube, through Twitter. You can send me emails. There's a million ways that we can put this information together. The Elon Musk mission, you may know, we had 2 scientists as part of the team, because you don't count my degree in psychology as real science. But the other 2, Brian Wong and Dr. Know-it-all, John, what's wrong with my brain? Anyway, those 2 are real scientists with PhDs and are professors at universities. They're the real McCoy. I know something about business, and Lars Van Ritter certainly has done his research, and I think many of you love the content that he provides because he does his research and he goes into the details. So the 4 of us put together the book, but then we had 40 people on a launch team who then came in and actually did fact checking and helped us with the editing. So 40 individuals. So we 4 all fact checked one another, and then we had 40 individuals who came in and did additional fact checking. This is what I want to do on the new book. I want at least 40. It could be 80. It could be 100. It could be 200. I want to get the facts right. I want to get the projections right. I want to get the expectations right in this book. So we know that we need to according to Elon Musk, we need to transition 300 terawatts of energy to solar, wind, and battery in order to take over what's being done by coal and gas and oil and other things, in order to be sustainable, in order to be clean, in order to deal with CO2, et cetera. So I've got some questions. These are the questions that I'm going to be trying to answer over the next 90 days as we prepare to start writing the book. And if you'd like to be part of it, start with comments below, get in touch with me, join Patreon. Okay, here we go. Oh, by the way, if you like this content, please please share, put it up on your social media, have your friends and others watch this video who might be interested in this content, who might be scientists, who might be studying in this area already. We need to network to get the very best folks involved in this that we possibly can. Okay, so number 1, is wind a long-term player, period? So Brian Wong and I have had a long conversation the other day, and he thinks that wind is transitory also, that wind has enough problems with it in terms of killing birds and in terms of the actually impact on local weather is a thing. And he's gave me a long conversation about how it sometimes impacts local weather. Especially this would be true, of course, in inland wind facilities. So is it a long-term player? I would like to really dig in. I believe Brian, but I think we need lots of science on this. What are the prospects for wind long-term? Are they going to be part of the solution in the long term, or will it only be offshore wind? Maybe onshore wind will not, but offshore will. What's the situation there? By the way, those of you who are thinking about the recycling of the blades, apparently that is being dealt with. There are multiple methods now where new installations that are going up, they are able to deal with recycling of the blades. I know there are other issues with if they take a wind farm out of production, that sometimes they're leaving behind things that need to be cleaned up. I mean, that's certainly solvable with regulation. So I'm not gonna worry about that too much, but I don't want to throw anything out. So please, comments, thoughts, bring other people into the solution, do your own research, and bring me what you find in terms of the research. Okay, so wind, what's the long-term issue? And then let's assume that it is a long-term issue, a long-term possibility for a solution. Well, then if it is, what's realistic in terms of the percentage of that 300 terawatts that wind will replace? Will it be 10%? Will it be 30%? You know, how much of the solution is going to come from wind? And if it's going to come from wind, how soon? So there's huge, I did some research. You can just go to Wikipedia and look it up. You can see some immediate research in terms of the number of projects that are already underway, that are being built, or that are in the permitting stage, or that are in the licensing stage. They're all different levels, and it's big numbers. In some cases, some of the ones in Northern Europe are the offshore facilities are enough to power entire countries with one wind farm. So there's some really big stuff going on. I need to know, I want to see what the research is in terms of, is it possible that wind is 20%, 30%? And if it is that by 2035? Is it by 2030? And what are the limiting factors that would keep us, let's say, from getting to wind's potential as early as 2030? What are the limits? Are there limits in materials, in factories? What are the limiting factors? Okay. Number two, solar seems to be the best answer. There doesn't seem to be kind of the side negativity. Yes, some materials, and people are always going to complain about how we mine things, or what kind of CO2 that we have to use in order to build them. Yes, but then they're built and then they last for a very long time. And I know that the chemical solutions and the methodologies for creating solar are just like this in terms of the science. So that's one of the things I'd like to know. What is happening with the science that's real? We have a lot of reporting in the news and in Wired and in all of these different magazines that are reporting on all these breakthroughs. Almost every day there's a breakthrough. Well, no, let's be real. Some of those breakthroughs are in the lab, and some of them aren't real, and some of them are somebody's dream. What are some of the real prospects? And I know the best prospect might not come out till next year, way after the book is written, but let's find out where we are right now. What are the real prospects for solar technology? And then how much of the 300 terawatts can be taken over by solar? Is that at 50%? Is that 60%? And then if it's going to be that, how soon? And then what are the limiting factors from doing it even faster? Is it raw materials? Is it just factories? Because right now, current reporting is that battery prices have dropped again on battery. I did it again. Solar cell costs have dropped like 30% recently because we have a glut of solar cells. Okay, and there is this issue, apparently, I haven't done a deep dive on this yet, but apparently there is this issue of solar battery. They don't want to put the solar in until they have the batteries. Nobody wants to build the batteries until they know they have somebody that's going to buy them from them. Is there enough batteries? We'll talk about that in a second. So right now, there's a lot of solar cells available, and the prices are dropping. They're mostly made in China. We already know this. What is the future? Will China stay ahead of it? Will the prices seem like they're going to continue to drop with technology and with ramping? Where are we on that curve? And is it possible that maybe solar is 100% at some point? If wind isn't, is it solar that's 100% of all renewable? And what is that date? I don't think it's 2050, like some are saying. I don't think it's 2040. I think 2035 is the max, but I don't know. I'm like, I'm pulling that number out of the sky based on a lot of reading and a lot of analysis, but not deep, real, solid analysis. So I'm looking for your help on that. Okay. So what are the limiting factors? Et cetera. Batteries, same questions. The transition cannot happen without lots and lots of batteries. We've been talking about batteries ad infinitum for the last 3 weeks because of Lathrop. I'll be talking a lot more about batteries and Lathrop in the next few weeks because I think it's just breaking news. And almost every single day there's something new coming out. Well, it's going to take a huge amount of batteries in order to make this transition. The batteries are needed in the factories. The batteries are needed at the charging stations. The batteries are needed in governmental facilities. The batteries are needed in utilities. The batteries are going to, I believe, be used in regional settings, even local settings, where a bunch of homes all have power walls, and then there's a local battery that might only be serving 200 homes or whatever that is the backup for those power walls. So you need a lot of megapacks or megapack type products in order to make this transition happen. So, oh yes, and of course, cargo ships. It just goes on and on and on. So what are the limiting? We've talked a little bit about those limiting factors, but what appears to me, again, I'm just kind of layering on my little current analysis, is that the battery chemistry thing is happening very rapidly. People are coming up with one battery chemistry after another. Everybody's talking about sodium at this point and how sodium could really be the savior, not in terms of making a better battery or a longer lasting battery or a faster battery in terms of charging, not in terms of cost, but in terms of supply of the raw materials that are necessary to support the factories that are popping up everywhere to make these batteries. So what are the limiting factors, and is the chemistry changing now to the point where maybe we're not going to have any problem going forward in terms of limitations on batteries? And what effect will that have? Does that mean we could really have 60-70% of the world transition to electricity by renewable sources by 2030? I know that sounds crazy. Randy the optimist, right? Maybe it's 2035 at 70%. Maybe it's 2040, it's 100%. What would keep that from happening, other than, of course, dictatorial, people who don't want their country to have it for some reason? North Korea comes to mind. That's the kind of research that I'm talking about that we need. Let me just drop down here just one more time here and see if I got it all here. Yeah, so that's the story. Help out. If this is something, if you like research, if you're a scientist or you are an analyst and you like to research and kind of ferret things out, join Patreon or comment here, send me an email. My email is still out there. That may have to end at some point as I have more and more people following this channel and following on Twitter and whatnot. There may come a time when I have to change my email. But for now, I'm taking all comers. So if you have ideas and you have some knowledge to share, or you want to be part of the solution, part of the reporting that we'll be doing over this next few months, please help out. Like and share, comment, and subscribe. It's been great talking to you.